Hola, buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everyone. This is, or I guess I should say, these are my green pets. We're currently doing a series on the different tribes and alliances that I have in my small collection, small-ish collection, I guess you could say. And today we're going to talk about everyone's favorite alliance, Phalaenopsis, or Phales, or Phals. All kinds of ways to say that. The moth orchid is kind of the common name that they go by. I have how many do I have? I have 5 out here right now. My other 2, I have 2 more that are inside right now that are in bloom. So I'll go inside real quick and after this and show you what they look like. Phalaenopsis, wow, you can find so much information on Phalaenopsis these days. They're just, you go to a big box store, you go to the grocery store, they're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. And yet, there's a lot of people that still think that they're like the hardest thing in the world to grow. And honestly, they really are not if you know what to do, know what to look for. Alright, so we're going to look real quick at basic Phalaenopsis care, and then we'll look at the ones that I have. All of mine are unidentified. I don't know the species. I don't know the hybrid name. They were all came from Lowe's or Home Depot or Kroger or wherever, and they were on sale. A lot of them, you go to these places and they've got a bunch of Phalaenopsis that are about to die, and you can get them for like 50 cents or $1. So I bought a bunch of them last year. I spent $15. And I think I got 6 plants, and they all ended up blooming in the winter. And they're just really, really nice to have. And when they put out a show, they really put on a show when they bloom. Alright, so I think the most useful thing that I could probably say, because I think everyone pretty much knows what a Phalaenopsis looks like, is let's have a look at one of these guys and let's check out the roots. Because, orchids are all about the roots. If you have an orchid with healthy roots, then your plant's going to be okay. What I want you to do is pay close attention to the inside of the pot here. You'll notice that the roots inside the pot are kind of green, especially down at the bottom, whereas the roots outside the pot that are dry are more whitish gray. Alright? What you want to do is you want to try to keep at least some of the roots, like the ones in the pot for example, that green color, if that makes any sense. You don't want water to be soaking through, you don't want to be dripping with water all the time, but you do, if you can see like the little humidity droplets inside the pot there, you can see that there is moisture inside the pot. So what you want is for your Phalaenopsis to always have moisture available. Now these roots on the outside, they're fine, because it's humid outside. It's humid out here. It's probably 80% humidity outside. When I take these inside in the fall, a lot of these roots, especially the ones that have the root tips that are growing, they will dry up and they will stop growing. Maybe like this guy here. See this guy? And they'll stop growing because the humidity levels are too low. But the ones in the pot will be okay and they'll keep growing. So moisture is really key for these plants. They need moisture. They like moisture. They need it. They don't have bulbs to store it. Okay. You can see the light that they're getting by looking at the shadow in my hand. This is 85. No, wait. Sorry. This shade cloth here is 40%, but it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so the sun, the angle of the sun is a little bit lower. So I would say that this plant, it's getting a lot of light for a Phalaenopsis, but to make sure that your plant's doing okay, you want to touch the leaves and feel them. If they don't feel hot, then your plant is fine. If the leaves feel hot, you better get it out of the light, because it's going to burn it, and it's not going to be good. Alright, but there are so many videos on how to grow Phalaenopsis, I'm not going to waste your time here. I did want to draw your attention to this. I've never had a Phalaenopsis start growing things out of an old spike. This year I decided not to cut the spikes after they bloomed, just like leave them on here to see what they would do. And lo and behold, they are starting to grow things out of them. And I don't know if this is going to be another spike. It kind of looks like it, right? but I think that's kind of interesting. So if you have the space and don't feel like cutting the spikes off after they bloom, leave them on there, see what they'll do. Sometimes they'll just do like this one and just start to dry out from the end and just die. And once it dries all the way out down to the bottom, it's not going to do anything. You can cut it off. But if you've got the room, why not leave it on there and see if it does something? Sometimes they'll grow a whole new plant called a keiki, or a baby in Hawaiian. And they do interesting things. So let it grow. The last little Phalaenopsis that I have is this one over here. This is a mini. I paid 50 cents for it at Lowe's because it was dried up and about to die. And it has actually grown a new one out to the side. It's got new leaves, that kind of stuff. I don't know what color it is when it blooms, but because I got it out of bloom, but we'll see what it does. Hopefully it will be okay. It's got new roots. Got roots back there. Seems to be doing okay. So that's good. Alright, so those are the Phalaenopsis. Let's go inside after a while and look at the ones that are in bloom. Alright everyone, we are in the sunroom, and this is where I keep orchids that are in bloom, because there's no better place to enjoy blooming orchids than inside the home, and as opposed to outside or in a greenhouse, right? During the Victorian era, a lot of very wealthy people would have greenhouses that had a collection of plants, and whenever the plants were in bloom or doing something interesting, the gardener or the horticulturalist would bring the plants inside and display them in the home for the duration of their bloom. So that's kind of the idea we're trying to do here. These are the Phalaenopsis that I currently have in bloom. This is an unidentified big white Phalaenopsis, and these are really big flowers. I mean, the other ones just aren't quite that big. This is really nice. And then this one is also in bloom. Let me tell you about this one. This guy is amazing. It has been in bloom. Okay, we're in August, right? This is August. This plant has been in bloom since December. Okay, I got this plant for Christmas, and it is still in bloom. So, yeah, that's amazing. It's growing a new leaf, it's growing new roots, but it has remained in bloom that entire time, which I think is pretty amazing.